what is the difference between making money off of money versus making money off of work? Does our tax system
Yeah.
treat them differently? And is there any
Oh,
discussion how they should be?
a- absolutely. There's a fundamental distinction in the tax code between the tax of labor versus the tax on what we call capital gains on your property making money. So not only do we not tax that, and so that tax, that increase in the value of your property, that so-called passive income, uh, you're hitting on the second part. The first part is that we're not taxing it until you sell it. So if you hold it for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years until you die, you're not even taxed on it during your whole life. But even if you do sell it, this is the point you're making, is that we tax it at a lower rate than we do labor. I have a lot of beef with Ronald Reagan. I'm sure a lot of folks do. However, the one thing that we might give Reagan credit for is that the Tax Reform Act of 1986 equalized the rate of tax on labor and on capital, which I think is appropriate, if not should be in the reverse to what it is. That job creation happens more often through small businesses, happens more often through small mom and pop shops and whatnot. So I am always for raising taxes, but carving out exceptions and exclusions for truly small businesses. Again, from a racial perspective, uh, we know that Black median wealth along the current path will hit zero by 2053. So it would be insane for me to promote rules and whatnot that force Black people to rely strictly on labor and to not be entrepreneurial and to not own businesses and own real estate. That'd be ridiculous. So the idea that we're anti-market or anti-capitalist when you advocate for for higher taxes, yeah, is just really inconsistent with what capitalism really means, what free market really means. And by ignoring it, I think we're pushing ourselves towards a system of government and economics that we absolutely don't want to go, and that's feudalism. We've seen it before, and we know that it makes things bad for everybody.
If you think about it, feudalism is kind of the marriage of the big oligarchs and the government. I mean, that's really essentially what it means to be leading towards a feudalist society. And getting to and this is where I think perhaps progressives have missed out on an opportunity, is when the conservatives talk about job creation, right? The supply side. If you ease the tax burden on the super rich, then they will
Right.
pass that on to everyone else and create jobs and everything. But like you just said, the people that are low income spend 100% or even more than 100% of every penny they get, because their basic necessities of life eat up all of their paycheck. I mean, their rent might
Right.
make up more than half of their paycheck they spend on rent. So they spend an inordinate percentage of their income in a lot of these small businesses. So don't they get
Absolutely.
credit for creating jobs for the people that work in those businesses? Aren't they
Well,
job creators just as much as the
you would
employers?
you would think so. You would think so. That's where I got to be honest. Engaging in discussions in public discourse becomes hugely frustrating because that trope is so petrified. When in fact it is the exact opposite. That um, there's if there is a difference at all, because again, wealthy folks, it, whether they if they hang on to, if you don't tax them, their money is invested in stocks and bonds and whatnot. Um, there's no they don't if you raise the taxes, their money is still invested in the same exact places. The money that's you taken from taxation is either kept by the government, which uses it to pay its people, so that's job creation as well, or or the redistribution the reduction of the tax burden on poor people. Yes, more poor people having more money, either through lower taxes, either through the earned income tax credit, through the child tax credit. by definition, has to be spent on goods and services, not, as a matter of fact, here is one concrete example that almost perfectly proves that poor people create more jobs than wealthy people. If you don't tax wealthy people and you allow them to keep all their income, they just as much as they can create jobs in other countries.